Cleveland Indians and the visiting New York Yankees.
My buddy Eddie gets it.
That sounds pretty good.
That was good.
I'm warmed up.
I don't know what you're warmed up on.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
And this is Councilman Kaz Kotowski with a full panel today, with none other than the illustrious
Mr. Stemka.
That's it, Mr. Stemka,
That's it.
and incomparable
Today, my name is Joe.
Joe.
Yes.
You-
I'll just have a different name every day. Then people can't track me down.
You're undercover.
I'm undercover.
You're the Tom Cruise of Erie.
Yes. Okay, I'll be Tom today.
Which reminds me, we had a very D-Day was this week,
Yeah.
June 6th, and had the pleasure of meeting at least 9 to 10 members that are still around, and they were saluted by the football club, the Erie Explosion. Very memorable, and it was a good time.
Yeah, good.
Great to see those guys. It's I hope I'm in that kind of shape. But
You are
Yeah.
today. You're all full of energy.
oh, what's to be bad about it? I mean, until they prove otherwise, okay. And I'll get in debates with philosophers and probably my members of the clergy, but until they prove otherwise, the worst day alive is still better than the best day dead.
Yes.
Look at Stemka sitting over there going, what the heck, what's he talking about? Anyway, do you have anything you want to go into real quick, DJ?
Yes.
I'm not prepared like I should have. I didn't write anything down.
Yeah, anything you want to go over? Or?
I'll just wait till the end and see if I can squeeze anything in the last minute.
Okay. nothing really get to...
No. I had a good weekend. I went all over the place. I went to Rochester, New York. Visited with my folks for a while. Went to Butler, PA. Went to Peak and Peak. Went to Findlay Lake. I was all over the map this weekend.
That's good.
I am tired.
I spent the week, believe it or not, had a lot of complaints about alleyways and different things. So I spent a week discovering things I never knew.
Oh,
There are places in Erie, roads and alleys I never knew existed.
really?
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but you think you've seen everything, but you haven't. And so we had a couple complaints. I think we're going to get those straightened out. And
When are we going to start getting the streets done?
pardon?
When are we going to start getting some street work done?
They're doing it now. Actually,
Where?
I was told. Well, Ron, if you can't see it, I mean it's out there.
The only thing I seen a patch job on 38th Street, East
But-
38th, and that was it.
38th Street. You mean what the state did?
Yeah.
Well, that's their road. But if you have any complaints about roads, give them to me. I told you that, and we'll turn them in.
How about Davison? We've been banging that for over a month. From 38 down.
I believe that's on. If I don't. I did. Oh boy, I should have brought my list. I think it's on the list to be done.
I didn't think it was on there.
There were parts of it I do remember were on there.
How about Marion Street?
Wait a minute, not Davidson. I was wrong. Zimmerman. That's on the list.
Yeah, but they did that.
Which one do you want to see?
I want to see Davison and Marion Street done. Been 6-7 years since.
I actually paid a little trip up to Page Street. John calls and I took a ride up there, so I saw what he was complaining about. And there are some. There's still some potholes out there. So well, you know what? It's a big job, but call in, tell me, put them on the list, and we'll see if they're done. And
Call the guy from the streets and ask him right
I bet you. Who do you think it is?
now. Your buddy.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Davison's going to get paved from 28th Street to 33rd.
Yeah, I thought that was on the list.
33rd, why not
It
38th?
really needs paved all the way up to 38th Street. Why they're not doing that, I don't know.
They're going from where'd you say it was from?
28th to 33rd.
Oh, okay.
Why can't they
It
finish the
really
rest of it?
needs all the way up to 38th Street. It's just as bad.
Well, I just saw the engineer, and I can. He asked me if there's any, I seen around that were troublesome. I'll put it in and see if we can, add it on a little bit.
Got a couple other things. Who would be on Burton and Pine Avenue. Why can't we have a traffic light up there?
On what street?
Burton and Pine Avenue. If you're trying to get off on Pine Avenue off of Burton, certain times of day you wait forever to get out.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I do take that road. That's the one right next to the Dairy Queen there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the problem is going to be, as you know, Councilman Murski and myself put in for one on 38th and Pine, and also on 38th and Old French Road over there. That's a state highway.
Use some turn arrows there.
Yeah, that's a state highway. That's going to be the problem. But I can certainly put it in and see if I can get support on council to have a study done. That's it's that funny intersection where you come up right between the Dairy Queen, I think, and Daleski's garage, like.
Red.
Yeah, that is a bad one. It gets busy with not only the Dairy Queen, but a lot of people like shoot up Burton and then they come over Pine.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I'll put it in for like a light or something.
Yeah. Speaking of traffic lights, the traffic light at 38th and Zimmerman, up by the old bank, up by Ken's garage there.
You're right.
Okay, eastbound lane. That traffic light is not plumb. You actually almost have to be underneath it before you can see that it's green.
You're talking about the one on 38th Street, right?
38th Street, 38th, right by Ken's garage, going east.
Heading east. Okay, let me mark it down here.
Next time you go over there, it's the right-hand lights.
Right.
It's not straight. It's not plumb. It's tipped back so far, you're almost under before you can see if it's green or red.
Okay.
Next time you go through there, take a look at it.
By Ken, yeah, I know, I do, and you know, you get so immune to it because you live there.
Oh.
You don't see it the same way as other people see it.
Yeah, I know. A couple times I've actually had to almost slam my brakes on because the light's red and you don't realize it until you're almost under it.
Yeah, and I go by there a lot because I head over that way to do business on the east side.
Right.
But I get immune to it because after a while you build into your system, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know the things that are kind of like unsafe but I'll mark that one down.
I've seen that problem with a lot of lights. It's almost like it's a lens and it's just pointed down, and you.
Well,
can't...
some of them are. They pointed out like the one here on not Perry Square, but on Peach Street by 6th Street.
Yeah.
By the courthouse.
Right.
Some of them are hard to see, but that's a lens problem.
There has to be an adjustment they can make.
I don't know. Sometimes they say that it's the material and the lens that they're using. They were designed for, and at certain times they don't function right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the case with this one. That in the old days they had lights. Now they got LEDs and they have other things. And sometimes there's a blind spot with those lights that they don't reflect well. It's kind of like your TV at home. They tell you if you're in front you're okay, but if you're off to the side,
right,
you don't see the HD as well.
There has to be an easy fix. There's got to be something there.
Yeah.
Tweak.
I'll look into that for you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all for now.
Hey, thank you for calling. Yeah, I took a, it's amazing. I was riding around town and a number of intersections that people are getting wild now. And, that guy's right. I mean, if you get some of these, and the trouble is like when you're on Pine Avenue, that's a state highway. So they're not in a hurry to do a lot of things, especially when there's a light right up there in Grandview.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting. Go ahead, caller.
I'm just wondering, did you hear anything on that Southgate Pizza? They're not open anymore.
I heard, I heard that today, but I also heard I was talking with a couple of people, and they said they heard that there's a new owner.
New owner?
I mean, you're talking about the actual restaurant part now.
The pizza place, too, is closed.
Oh, really?
I tried calling, and they rang and didn't say anything. And
oh, I wasn't aware of that. They told me the restaurant was closed.
Yeah, they have it says a building permit or something on there, and then...
Yeah, I think they told me there's a new party coming in.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're going to take over the pizza place, too.
Yeah, the pizza place, because even my daughter-in-law, she tried calling, and she just rang and no answer. And
they might, I thought if I heard it right once, they were kind of like connected, the restaurant and the pizza place.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, the new owners, whoever they are, I don't know if they're going to open up the pizza place too, but you would think they would because,
Yeah, they've been around for years.
well, yeah, it's a pretty good location.
I think they own that laundromat too, but
They may, at one time, was it, well, the Southgate Hardware was, they're not up, that's right, Southgate Hardware is gone now entirely.
there's a chiropractor there or something.
Yeah, it could be, I don't know if it was a problem with rent or what it was, but I heard some wild rumors, but I don't want to spread them because I don't know, but, you know, whatever, I did hear that there's supposed to be some new owners, and I thought they're going to open up within the week or something. So keep an eye on it, and maybe we can, you know.
What about that good sense? Anybody coming in there? Any bites on that? Or
You know, I haven't talked to people in economic development, but that's a good subject to ask them. We haven't, like, council hasn't been advised of anybody going in there. A lot of that's done upstairs with zoning and code enforcement, not code, but zoning and economic development, and it really doesn't get down to us sometimes until later if we have to do something. But I'll kind of ask up there if there's any projects.
okay, then thank you.
I was a little disappointed, though, because I heard Nick Scott was building like 3 IHOPs, and I was hoping like we'd get one of them in the city somewhere.
One's going to Harbor Creek, the other one's on Peninsula Drive. They said.
Yeah, we really don't need one on the east side of town, but I mean, it would have been nice to have one maybe on the, you know, west side of town or somewhere in central.
That's going to the old Muggs building. That's where
The
they're
who?
going. The Muggs on Upper Peach Street. I heard that's where they're going.
Muggs.
Yeah, you know Muggs restaurant?
Where was Muggs?
Never heard of it.
Just on the other side of 90,
Ah, okay.
south of 90 on the right-hand side. It used to, you know, it was a nice bar years ago, and,
We got a Jimmy John's downtown that just opened.
yeah,
It's in the Richford.
that's what we gotta do, get people
Yeah.
to come in here.
Yeah, I'll kind of find out, sir. I like to find out if there's anything new coming in, but I'll ask them, okay?
Okay, thank you.
See if we can find out.
I heard
But
on the street was a company out of Ohio coming in there.
in here, Erie?
Yeah, that one, that Sense place.
Oh, and you heard something?
Yeah.
I would think something would come in there eventually. I mean, it's, you know, when I first moved up here, that was, well, the Kmart was Grant City years ago, and then,
City, I never heard of that being.
yeah, that was up there. It didn't last long because Grant City was, you had 2 Grant Cities. One was out there on
Alton Peninsula.
Pittsburgh, yeah, was out there, and then they built the one on the east side. That was typical in those days. Erie was, when Erie was still, you know, they would get like, if there was a Kmart, they'd have one east, one west. If there was a Mason's, you had one east, one west, somewhere, you know. And usually the east side of Erie, especially in the, because remember around Perry Plaza, you had an LB's, you had a Mason's department store, and then you had the Perry Plaza.
Them the good old days.
Yeah, it's a shame now because you get a little frustrated that it seems like we don't get a lot like we used to. In other words,
But how much do they charge for taxes in Mill Creek compared to Erie, like Pittsburgh Avenue?
yeah. But you know what? They can make money. They'll go. That's a small, you know. Go ahead, caller.
Hello. What do you think about Mayor Sinnott's bouncing Eddie Kitzel off the Metropolitan Board? Alternate.
I just read about it in the paper. Believe it or not, like we weren't notified. That's, you know, that's his prerogative. That's, you know, but it kind of surprised me because, boy, you know, Eddie. I'll say this, and Eddie knows. You know, I say this with all due respect. Eddie's the kind of guy that you like. He's very truthful, and sometimes he does ruffle feathers. But you know what? It helps to have. You know, the opposite opinion. When I was in the Army, they always told us, never surround yourself with yes men. Have some yes men, some no men, and then make a decision. But always know the pros and the cons of both sides of the argument. Eddie always gave that to you. You know, Eddie represented the people. And sometimes I think, you know, people thought maybe he went a little too far. But you know what? If you didn't have him and you didn't have the Sons and people like him and all the other people that got active, would we have the waterfront today with public access we do today? I don't know. What do you think, sir?
I think he did so much. He did the landscaping there on Frontier, that area, and down at the Bayfront. Just
Yeah.
as you go into the sewer authority all that gardening he did or whatever. Do you think the mayor did the right thing? I ask you, yes or no?
I would, in my opinion, if it was my call, no. I think that Eddie is a what do you call it? Eddie's an asset to the community. I think that he's entitled, anybody that's on the board is entitled to their opinion. And I think I agree with the paper, the two things that probably got him into trouble is the hot topic about McBride, which I've been on record as saying, hey, I think we should have kept McBride. And if we were Pittsburgh or we were Harrisburg or we were State College, we'd have that road today. And then the other issue is probably the access, what do you call it, the one he's taken the Civic Center to court on, the access sidewalk. But if you ask me, sir, I like Eddie, and I thought, I would have kept him. I guess you do too, right?
Well, yes, thank you, but the mayor, and I found that out after the first 4 years. He's a silent bully, If you don't do what he wants or whatever in the last 6 years, you're out of the picture. This guy, what a nice person we thought we were going to have for a mayor.
Until you found out.
Just sits back and you do the wrong thing and you're out of the picture.
Let me say this. You disagree with me at times, and I appreciate your opinion, because you know what? I don't want people to tell me, pat me on the back and say, what they think I want to hear. I want to hear the truth. If people got complaints or they feel like, they don't like one of my votes, what talk to me, because then, I'll explain why I did it. But yeah, I never felt I wanted a bunch of yes men around me. I think it's good to have, people that'll question you a little bit.
Oh, you recognize my voice? Is that it?
Yeah, and hey, that's okay. But you know what? Hey, it's if you walk around life and everybody tells you yes, 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 all of a sudden, there's the same people that'll turn on you.
Yeah.
When I had my office upstairs, my deputy was free to disagree with me, and she kept me in line different times. She would tell me that, she would question me, and I'd say, you know what, and we talked, and sometimes I was a little, hasty. And it's good to have someone around that, questions you. And the public feels a lot, and you probably will agree with me on this one. They feel like government has kept a lot of them out of the dark on a lot of things. They don't feel like they have a voice, and
They don't.
And then when you have these committees that don't have people that represent the public, then I think you start to wonder.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your answer, and I know you're a good guy, but I was always concerned about the pressure from upstairs.
No, I don't work for, I've said this, I didn't work for Rick Filippi, I don't work for Joe Sinnott. Do I talk to Joe Sinnott? Yes, I did. I do occasionally. And we do disagree, okay? As a councilman, I cast my vote the way I feel, and I have voted against him, and I have gone for him, But you can call me the same, and I'll talk to you.
Okay, I don't know Rick Filippi from Jack Zabrowski.
Yeah.
He was a good mayor or whatever. and okay, I'm gonna let you go now.
Okay.
Thank you for your polite answer.
Yep, thank you. Hey, call anytime you want.
What did you do, take Eddie off the board or what?
I just found out today. I mean, we don't get notified a lot of times. It was in the paper.
What was the reason for taking him off the board?
It sounded, you got to read Kevin, I think it was Kevin Cunio's column. And he wrote an article that he thought, he said himself, Eddie is like a lightning rod,
But he tells the truth.
But he said, he served under Joyce, and he served under, he's been there for a while. And probably the issue that got him into trouble was like McBride Viaduct and this...
Well, if the state gave him the money to do the viaduct, I'm coming in and put it in. Fix it.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Kaz.
Yes.
Another shooting, 1800 block of Buffalo Road. I don't know if you guys talked about it.
No, we didn't. Is that the one that was at the Metro Club last night?
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
is there any chance mean, if there's so many shootings up there, can't that be described as a nuisance bar and it's got to be shut down?
Yes, in fact, I'm trying to get one closed. There's a couple other ones around town. There's, I don't want to say the names publicly, but you can call me off the air and I'll tell you. But you can pretty well figure out which ones they are, and that's one of them that they've, over the years, I think, there's been numerous task force in there and everything. But from what I've been told, and, we're not the law and council, and, either is the mayor, but when they start the process on state level, like taking away their license, it's pretty hard to do from what I was told. You have to really, it takes a while like that. If you remember that one on Buffalo Road, what was that? Remember the one where the woman protested for a number of years? It was on Buffalo. And it took her about 2 or 3 years to get it closed, and this one's been going about an equal time. So, yeah, I think that there's people who want to see it closed, but I'd have to check to see if they're really processing. You want me to check for you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because there's a process. They have to start, the state comes in and they look at it, and it's got to be investigated, and then there's warnings sent out, and then, yeah, they eventually, in fact, they have closed bars in Erie, but it does take a while. But, the work has to be done.
Yeah, but this person's got bullet holes through their windows. They're shooting. The guy's watching TV, you get shot.
Yeah.
Did that take that kind of effect?
The other bar that I'm talking about, a gentleman called me back and said he found a bullet hole in his house, and it's not that bar.
No.
So we got some issues, You would agree, right, sir?
Yes. That other one you were talking about was the 20 Grand Cafe, Buffalo Road.
Yeah, that's the one. That poor woman, she stood out there for I forget how many years, and they finally closed it down.
Wow.
Well, years back, here's a little story. I was coming up there. I think Erie County Farms might have been up there at the time. And that was when the old bridge was open, East Avenue Bridge, McBride Viaduct. You come in the back way and go up by the 20 Grand Cafe. Anyhow, I was stopped at the light. Man comes up in a hockey mask asking if I wanted to buy any drugs. How bold is that, Kaz?
That's bold.
This was back in the 80s. This was probably mid-late 80s. Yep, in a hockey mask selling drugs.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, at least he wasn't going to beat you. I mean, wrap you over the head. When you said a hocky mask, I was thinking this is not going to turn out too good.
No, it was good as broad daylight. I was going up to Erie County Farms, I believe.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. I mean, it's you can see things going on that in your mind that doesn't look right. But I turn them in from time to time, and I've been told that it's under observation. And the problem is,
who's they paying off? That's what I would like to know. Who's they paying?
I don't know if they're. You know what? It's there's so much of it going on right now in this world. I mean, read about it. Look around the country. You got, they used to think marijuana was bad in the 60s. Okay, but now you're talking about, what did they find, a meth lab that was mobile the other day, going down the highway? Come on now. Right, sir?
Wow.
That's correct.
I mean, you got a mobile lab going down the highway. What chance you got, Ron? I mean, you think of the things that are going, the cops can't be everywhere. I mean, they're watching something, and everybody thinks, well, a lot of times they don't want the little guy. They want the root. Okay, and that takes a while to dig them out. But in the meantime, I mean, you read every day in the paper. You go out and you look at Happy Springs and Pleasant Valley, or I'm just making names up, and you got drugs out there. You got drugs in the suburbs. It's not just a city,
Yeah. What would the chance be of getting like a satellite police station in the area?
Probably
1800 block Buffalo Road.
Probably not good. The original, I remember years ago they thought about putting those. Remember they bought those vans? Do you remember those big vans they had?
Just park one of them up there,
Yeah. I don't know if we even got one anymore. We used to have we had one of them, and that was the whole idea, that what they called the mobile police station.
Right.
Yeah.
I was actually approached by a business, and I got to turn it into, when I meet with the chief, I'm going to ask him if he's interested. There was an offer if the city wants to take it over of a building, you know, and that could be like a satellite, you know, police office. Of course, manning it is going to be the problem. It's not like we got a lot of extra policemen. But I agree with you. Maybe it's time to go back to the, I don't know if it'll work today, but the mobile idea where, you know, you move it into the neighborhoods for a few days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, until then, I mean, couldn't they just put a police car up there
They probably could, but, you know,
for themselves, too? I mean, I don't know if these cop cars are bulletproof. I have no idea.
I don't want to say yes or no, but I think with the kind of armament these guys got, and I've seen some of the armament, that wouldn't be, you know, real smart, I don't think. I think the bad guys do have some pretty heavy weaponry.
How bad does that seem if the cops are probably afraid to go in that area?
Well, you know, here's what I always said. If they're willing to shoot a cop, what chance do we got?
Got that right.
I mean, if they're willing to, I mean, with all the laws we got about, you know, if you shoot a police officer, you get, you know, mandatory, you know, God forbid that they die, but if, you know, you get the death penalty and all that, if that doesn't faze them, what chance does the average citizen got? You know, that's why, you know, I applaud the people that live in these neighborhoods that actually take a stand. And, you know, that's a big problem. Like you've seen these shootings the other day. The witness is uncooperative. He's got 2 bullets in his butt or something. He's uncooperative.
Yeah.
Whenever they say uncooperative, then you know.
Yeah, they're involved somehow.
You know. I mean, you know who it is.
It seems to be like, you know, I'm not an expert, but it seems like right now they're only worried about themselves. You know, they really haven't involved the public yet. It seems like, you know, it's all, you know, related to their own little business dealings. But, yeah, I agree with you, though. You can't have, you know, it's going to get where, you know, eventually bullets are flying. Somebody's going to get hurt innocent.
Well, that's what they say. It's like the code of the street now, where you don't, you know, rat on the person who shot you. And they say, you know, the snitches get stitches.
Right.
Where they had T-shirts printed up as that. I mean, it's just ridiculous because this guy's going to come after you again. He's got a beef with you.
Yep.
He's going to come after you again. Maybe he'll kill you this time. So how smart is that? I just don't get it. I don't understand their mentality, Kaz. I really don't.
My dad was a policeman, and if he was one today, I think I wouldn't get much sleep at night.
No.
You know, the amount of you know, stuff that's going on today. God bless these guys. I mean, I hear a lot of complaints about them, but it's you know, it's tough.
Okay, I'll let you guys go, but I hope the mayor listens to your show and gets some of these little tips that we're, you know, putting out there, because we really got to do something in this city. It's getting out of hand.
I'm going to bring it. You know, we do meet with the chief. Council does, and I'm his liaison. But I mean, he's only, you know, I want to get his idea if he, you know, I'd like to push the idea about maybe it's time we got to start. Other towns have done like security cameras where they're controlled by, you know, the police department has access to the cameras, and that's not going to stop everything, because, you know, they'll know where the cameras are and they'll move around too. But other towns have tried satellite, you know, offices and stuff, and the data's out there, you know, because just as much as we have problems, so does towns like Lancaster and Allentown and, you know, Reading and all those towns. They're on the east. They got the same problem we do, only a different city. You know, where our trouble may come out of Detroit, theirs comes out of Philly.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'll let you guys go.
Yeah, and I'll mark your complaints down, and you know, I will bring it up to them, and, you know, see what, you know. And then I have a few people I like to, you know, throw these at that are kind of like, you know, they'll tell me the truth, and we'll see what, you know, what they think, if it would work or not. Because there's got to be ways of. We can't have businesses that's going on. I mean, it's getting to the point that people see that every night on the press, and they say, you know, they don't want to drive in those areas at night.
No. Like I said, I just hope that the mayor and everybody else is listening to the program, and they get, you know, maybe think about things. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Ronnie, you had a look in your face.
No.
But, no, I mean, it's a $1 million thing today. Drugs is crazy. I mean, you can point your finger at everything that's bad, and it probably goes back there. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Gaz, let's get back to the Kissel thing for a while.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mayor Joe Senate wrote Ed Kissel a letter. I'm replacing you as alternate rep of the City of Erie on the MPO board, Senate wrote. Your positions have consistently been contrary to those of the City of Erie, and therefore, I do not deem it appropriate for you to sit as our representative any longer. And then this is Kevin Cuneo. Mm-hmm. That's pretty blunt dismissal from the mayor, who clearly had his fill of Kissel's independence. But it's disappointing to think, and every citizen of Erie should feel this way because it's the truth. But it's disappointing to think that contrary voices are not welcome at city meetings. And Kissel, who for many years has volunteered for dozens of projects in the region, deserve better than to be kissed off in such a perfunctory manner.
Well, if you heard me earlier, that's what it
I know, Cass.
Yeah, that's kind of my statement. I like no men around me because you know what? They got the alternate viewpoint.
You know something, Cass? That's the only way you grow. That's the only way you learn. We didn't become great because everybody said everything George Washington wanted to do was great.
Well, yeah, he had his detractors. I mean,
stayed with them.
You watching Texas Rising? You watch that, and there were so many nay guys against Sam Houston.
But you know, Cass, and this goes down to your city council meetings, where if you have anything that even remotely resembles a contrary opinion, mm-hmm. they look over the top of their glasses like you're from outer space.
Yeah.
And that's wrong, Cass.
Well,
What?
If you look at my career, when I was battering the school board when I was younger,
yeah,
and they probably hated my guts, but you know what? A lot of people, I always look at it this way, if you got 2 people out there, there's probably 10 more behind them.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to address council, but Eddie, I said that, Eddie is, at times Eddie can be a lightning rod, but you know what? He brings the things out that a lot of people don't think about.
Yes, and you and I both know this. Ed Kissel is not political.
No, he isn't. He's
not political at all. He doesn't support any candidates. All he supports is the citizens of Erie and their ability to enjoy Erie in a way that it should be enjoyed.
He was out at the airport the other day, and I didn't see him at the last meeting, but he's usually out at the airport. That's not even his bailiwick, but right. He's concerned about environment.
Oh, yeah.
He's concerned about,
I mean, he's a great guy for the community. Guess what? You could pile Ed Kissel's accomplishments up next to Mayor Joe Senate's accomplishments, and guess which pile would be bigger?
Let me ask you a question. What did the mayor do since he's been in office? Ask me that. Give me that question. Here's a question for you.
Here's what I would have done, Rich.
Yeah.
If I had an argument with Kissel and it was my call, I'd call him in, have a little discussion with him.
Yeah.
And see if there was some common ground. And if there isn't,
yeah.
I mean, he was put there. I know a lot, in the old days, you used to watch it. It happened even in the old days, boards and authorities were controlled to some degree.
Yeah.
But, the whole thing about when we first started the idea of authorities and boards, they were supposed to be run independently.
Yeah.
As long as they didn't step off the edge and do something stupid, like break the law or something.
Right, yeah.
They were supposed to be run in a way that free from government interference, yet the government had to back them, in other words, financially.
Yeah.
We were their buffer.
And unfortunately, I think the authorities and what have you have lost their way because they're not as independent as we like to portray them as being. They're very much they're a special interest group.
Well, yeah, you look at and I I'm not saying anything I haven't said publicly.
I know.
I was against moving the buses off State Street.
Well, look what
I'm
happened
thinking-
to the kid that ran the bus EMTA when he blamed the mayor for pushing the buses off of State Street. He lost his job. And that there probably is a relationship between that. I mean, I'm not sure, but the kid said the mayor kind of asked him to do it or made him do it. And then the next thing you know, when the kid brought it out that the mayor said something about the buses on State Street, that kid loses his job. And that board is full of cronies for the mayor. And you know that, Kaz. That whole EMTA board is comprised of friends of the mayor. And it's wrong. And I'll tell you what, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, then I'll let somebody else call in. There's a lot of people that want to be mayor. There's a lot of people that want to be mayor that are sitting on city council. Mm-hmm. They need to run away from what the mayor is doing and become an independent voice for the citizens of Erie. Because if I hear one guy running for mayor that says they're going to follow in the footsteps of Joe Senate, I'm going to run away from that son of a gun as fast as I can and give as much money as I can to his opponent. Because we need a change, guys. And that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. But listen, I'll let somebody else call in. That Ed Kessel thing's important.
Yeah, it kind of shocked me because I know Eddie can be abrasive.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've never had a problem with him. I mean, sometimes I might have, like he and I disagreed him a little bit on my idea of development along the waterfront. But I saw his point too, that there's room for both actually, There's room for my high rise and there's room for his walkway.
Yes, let's not confuse being abrasive with being honest. And you just did. Ed Kissel is probably pretty honest, and when he shows up at a meeting, he's loaded with both barrels because he does his homework, not like a lot of people. And if he's standing in front of you, he knows what he's talking about. And he's institutional knowledge that man has for the Bayfront. If they want to lose that just shows you the ignorance of the fifth floor.
Well, the Sons are, and Eddie's only one member of that group, but
I know
the Sons have been a huge influence on.
I wonder if he'll show up for the fish fry, the mayor.
Oh, I wouldn't show my face.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
How many more years we got the mayor?
2 years. It's amazing. I knew this when I read Cunio's article. I knew this was going to be a hot subject because Eddie, what I meant by my comment, one man's honesty is another man's abrasiveness.
Right.
And, there are people that over the years I've met on different boards that have argued points. Mario had a couple appointed that were really thorns.
Oh.
See, now it's different when council appoints, that, each member has then, they have to kind of answer to you. You don't have to reappoint them, but, I mean, to me, unless you do something bad or stupid, and what I mean by bad or stupid, if you're doing something that's really off the, that's really harming.
Yeah.
Not just not just an alternate viewpoint, but
right.
If you do things that really, then you should be gone, okay? But if your problem is that that's why they have votes in Congress, okay? Not everybody agrees.
Yeah.
But like they say in the Army, look, you can disagree, do anything you want, but once the decision's made, that's it. You go forward, okay? And you want people that say, that old joke about everybody's marching in the same drummer. That's, right?
Who's the one in the city? Who's the most councilman that speaks out against the mayor or anything that goes on?
Well, I don't make it a habit.
No,
Look,
I mean of all this council here.
our job is not to make him,
No, to do things to help the people. No one says, okay, I want to do this way, and I don't hear nobody. Except you once in a while, you say something.
Well, you have to understand that there are 7 people up here,
Right.
okay? And you're not king, okay? You have to get 4 people to agree with you.
Right.
And sometimes that takes a while. You have to, everybody's got their own idea, and you'll find out that when, Miss Arrington comes on here, she's going to have her agenda. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody has things they want to see done. And that's what makes it interesting, because you hope that out of 7 people or the 9 people who are on the school board or whatever the legislators, you hope that all these various things come together in such a way that good things happen. Now, you're not always going to agree. I mean, in the old days, I used to laugh. And you remember that. You'd have the Republicans battling the Democrats, and they'd be pounding each other on publicly. Then they go off to dinner together at night, right? And Goldwater and big, what's the guy who was the Speaker of the House, Sam Rayburn and all those guys, Tip O'Neill, right? They'd hammer something out over the bottle of bourbon at the end of the night, and everything was okay the next morning. Everybody was happy. Everybody gave up something. Everything. Now what do we got? We got gridlock. We got people that are afraid to speak up. You can't, you know, that's when people start to wonder about their government, and they say, you know, is there any hope? It's a wonder when only 20-some% of the people turn up to vote.
That was bad.
Because what people have given up, they've said, hey, you know, what difference does it make? You know, it's a done. If I hear that word, that scares me. DD. That's the word I hear all. You know what that means? Done deal. And when you hear that, that scares you, because I've never thought there was a lot of done deals. You know, and some people may have it in their mind, but I've literally sat up there a couple times, and when I walk through that door, sometimes my mind still isn't made up. You know, it might be leaning a different way, but
Yeah.
and
It's too much monopoly on city council, you know?
well, you know what? It's a tough job, okay? And that's why, you know, people shouldn't be afraid to run for public office.
Like Bagnone, he said it like it was. Wherever the clouds fall, that's
Sometimes Mario, and I used to tell him this, sometimes Mario would disagree with things just to disagree. You know, and, you know, sometimes you have to understand that the world has changed a little bit, okay? And there's things I vote for that I'm not really happy about, but, you know, you have to look at the overall picture, you know. If it's 80% good, if the 20% is not that bad, then maybe you have to go for the 80%. You know, you have to, that's why people elect you. They hope when they elected you that you have some kind of wisdom, that you can make, and if you don't, they'll tell you that next election. Or, you know, when you go to church, you're like, you know, people, you know, hey, you know, yeah, you did good, or sometimes they tell me, I don't like your vote. Okay, well, you know what, I'll talk to you afterwards.
I tell you, who runs for mayor is going to have their hands full.
Well, every you know what, being mayor today of any city, except with very few exceptions, is not going to be easy. I mean, every one of them in Pennsylvania is in trouble in some form or another. And even the ones that are good are still not perfect. And you look around the country, you want to be a mayor of a major city, or, I mean, you got all kinds of problems. You got crime, you got problems with finances.
But what's going to take the city down?
And a lot of it happened years ago, because and this is what you got to be careful when you're Summit or Mill Creek. You know, you're riding a horse big now. And so were we. We were 130-some thousand. Things were not bad. We were building. We were doing everything right. What happened? You know, somebody cut our legs off, and all of a sudden, you know, now Mill Creek's king, now Summit's king, and all things change as time goes on. And the problem is, when things are going good, you do things you probably shouldn't do. You're not conservative enough in certain areas. You don't, you know, money's no problem, and that's where you get into trouble. And that's what happens, you know. Now you're trying to put the genie back in the bottle, and it doesn't work. You know, everybody says, do this. Sometimes you can't. You can't undo certain things easily. And that's, you know, whoever the next mayor is, whoever follows us, the rest of us on council someday, you know, until things really get cleared up slowly. And it's going to take a while. We were presented with a plan at council, a 20-year projection. You know, you're looking ahead 20 years, and it could be scary, or it could be good, or it could be anything in between. But it won't be a cheap date.
Yeah, but that's where we got to get the state legislators on the ball and start hitting the table and, hey, let's get some money up to Erie.
Oh, you know what the problem is? A lot of that, too, is you look at, we're taxed on many levels. State, federal, all that, right? our federal dollars are going into defense, right? Homeland Security, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You flash back when I was in high school, and you were probably in grade school.
The same age I am.
Okay, I keep forgetting. But, okay, flashback
The old man here.
What happened during Kennedy era?
We had good times.
Well, just before the Vietnam War, right?
You and
Where were they? What did they do to downtown? They ripped it apart.
yeah, they put that. What they call that?
No, that was after. But the project during the high school, okay, that's when they went through downtown, and you saw all the old buildings come down. And they were tearing them down as fast as they could. And they had all these plans what they were going to put back up. The problem was they used, instead of like one down, one up, one down, one up, it was like 4 down, 5 down, 10 down, wiped out the whole time. And then slowly they started putting things back, but some projects didn't pan out. And then the money dried up when all of a sudden now we're involved in Vietnam. And it's the old theory they call you in economics. You either spend it on guns or you spend it on butter. Social or defense.
That's what he hit Social Security, didn't he?
Go ahead, caller.
The way you're talking,
Yeah.
it shows when they did that, it took all the businesses out of downtown and they put them up to Cafero's Mall. And the people found they had the right, they had all kinds of parking spaces.
Yep.
And they didn't have to fool around.
Well, you remember that day, right, John?
Sure.
How many theaters did we close?
We had 5 downtown.
They were beautiful. We could have used them for a lot of things.
Wow.
Not to, and then, remember the Boston store held out to the very end, right, John?
That's true.
And then once the mall offered them a corner up there,
Yes.
they were gone.
Yes. And the whole thing here is we get the government to come in with Section 8 buildings, apartments and everything down there. You had a few businesses down there.
Yep.
They saw they couldn't make the money because the people weren't there.
Yeah, well, you know, there's an old saying. I learned it from my boss in the private sector.
True.
Business goes where business is.
Right, and then city council lets them off the hook, and we got stuck again to pick up the tab. We got stuck with the Kohler project. We got stuck with the Mercantile building. We got stuck with that place on Parade Street. I mean, it's city council's damn fault.
Well, you know, they were in defense of those councils. You know, you had the governor come here one day.
There's no defense of the council.
Well, what I meant, John, was, and I'm not defending him, I'm saying, you know, you got the governor parading down here with a guy in his.
Yeah, that's Rendell with he brought down fish.
Yeah, we were all sitting there. I remember this day. We were sitting in the ruins of the Kohler building. You know, what used to be the. God, I'm trying to think, John. Maybe the keg house.
Well, that's the rat sculler. Well, it could have been.
Well, it was huge, but it was carved out. It was like 3-4 stories high, but there was no floors left.
That was the boiler room.
Probably was, and okay, we're sitting there, and you know, in 10 years, you look around here, it's going to be this, blah, 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 and it all looked good, remember?
That's a good thing your Brainiac's in buy-in, huh?
Yeah, he was supposed to come, right?
Right.
And then they were going to take my Legion Club out behind the block, then they blew down the smokestack, big show, remember?
That's a big,
yeah, we're all set to go, and then at the time, Mayor Filippi was going to develop the other side of the street with housing.
Yes.
And, you know, where the Kohler office was, and everything looked good. And then, same with these other projects. They paraded people in, you know, they came in with grandiose ideas, and what happens? It's the old pig in a poke.
Right, and then the whole thing here, Kellogg was paying tax on that property. He owned the Kohler building before they took it away from him.
Then we lost all the artifacts,
Yeah, well...
which are residing up in Red Dog Industries, I was told.
Well, okay, I won't say it. You did, but...
Oh, did I say it?
You did say it.
Yeah, I knew it was there.
No, slap my hand. I'm not supposed to do it.
I like the fist bump.
Artifacts and everything else.
I get in trouble when I tell the truth sometimes. But if I'm wrong, they can take me up there and show me they're not there. Then I'm going to wonder where they are.
Well, there's all kinds of artifacts around the city that are all over.
That's the bad part.
Right, the old cannons, the old ironworks, and the old park. Where's all that stuff?
What happened to that sign, the Kohler? Remember going into a glass?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that
You talking about the one on the brewery or the one?
No, the one on 10th and State.
Oh, that's probably gone. That thing, you mean the one where the glass filled up?
Yeah, it fills
That's
up.
probably tore down. But the other ones were taken to another place? Yeah, you know the one he's talking about, don't you, John?
No, what's that?
It was on 10th and State.
On the east side.
The bottle would empty into the glass and then it would fizzle and all that. And
was a Pilsner bottle.
I think that was tore down, though. I think that's scrap.
Belonged to Bartlett Signs, I believe.
Probably tore it down and sold it. Or
Right, and the clock, where's the clock?
which clock, from Kohler?
Yes.
Well, that's where it's rumored they're all up to that other location.
Well,
But nobody knows. I mean, it's private. It's a private place, right?
that's true, but I see you came up Page Street. You see what rough shape Page Street is in?
Yeah, I was going to stop and see it, but I was in a hurry. And
Yeah, okay.
but someday I'll have to stop. I heard you had good coffee.
Oh, I got the best coffee in the world. Coffee Italian.
I'm still ready to take you around. You're not supposed to go on a ride.
Right, you know, I hear about this, these council meetings. What's the average council meeting? 15 minutes?
No, longer than that.
I don't.
Oh, you're talking about the actual business meeting?
I'm saying the average council meeting.
Usually, most of it is committee reports, public debate. You know, public's right to talk. The actual meeting.
The actual meeting should be done out front where the public can see what's really going on.
Oh, we do. What do you mean?
You don't.
What? How do you mean, John?
There's too much stuff going on at caucus room. Bring it out front and let the people see the debate.
Well, the caucuses are open.
Yeah, but a lot of people can't get down there.
Mm-hmm. But they're open to the public. I tell anybody that wants to come back there.
Yeah, why don't we
That's
put
the
it on?
whole thing. The meeting should be out front
I don't think we have the.
to let the people see what is
No, have the
going
meeting
on.
right here.
Out in
But turn the
public instead of in
cameras
back
on.
room.
Turn the cameras on.
I can
Have
bring it up
in here.
I don't. I think they like the idea of being in the back, but
Years ago when I used to come here, they used to take me in the back. What are you here for? I'd tell them.
You know,
those days.
Then you
You know what? When they could get away with that when people were not really, into the law.
Yeah.
We found out when I was on the going after the school board, when I was on the PTA, that they weren't advertising meetings and they weren't doing a lot of things. Once you pointed it out to them, now you may not necessarily have the right to talk at those meetings,
Yeah.
but you can listen and ask for permission to talk. And that was, things we
Then
found out.
there's no problem with full transparency. Come out here, turn the cameras on, lock the doors. People can't come in or whatever,
Yeah.
but do it.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but
Transparency.
yeah. Did you see that house I was telling you about up there on Fargo?
I missed that one, John.
Well, you can't miss it because there's the old police line.
I'll go back up Fargo and take a look. Where's it located, about in Fargo?
Oh, I would say about 41st, 42nd. It's on your right-hand side.
Okay, it's like come up from 38th, right?
Yeah, be on the right as you come up Fargo. Or you can really go up Page Street and you'll see it as you go from Page onto Fargo. But it's in deplorable shape.
I took a ride the other day in some areas I haven't been for a while now. These are so-called, what you call areas you would be surprised to find houses like that, and they're growing,
Some of them are and some of them aren't. But
I mean, you got
the whole thing here is, you saw where Tom Tushak did the paving in that area. You rode across those patches?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yep, I'm going to come up and I'm going to give you a call when I come up next time, and we can take a little ride down there.
Right. I read an article, I think it was Norquist, an old mayor of Milwaukee, how he's going to bring the city back to life.
Yeah.
You can't bring the city back the way it was years ago. You're never going to bring it back.
Well, no, I mean, things change, but if you look at Pittsburgh, there's an example of a town that, it's not an industrial town anymore.
No, but you're talking 200,000 people.
Right, but John, you can do that with any town. Look at Rochester. Rochester is not 200,000, okay?
No, it's way down.
And they got whacked by when Kodak and
Cornell or Corel.
I mean, they got whacked, and they're doing it. You look at Allentown and Bethlehem. They had the steel plant.
Yeah, but the first thing you got to do is give people breaks.
Well, yeah, and it's how you do it, but
To have people that want to come in and use their money.
one town that's like us that's having a rough time is Youngstown. You know, there's a town that they haven't found the right formula, but other towns, big and small, are, you know, once you get whacked and you lose whatever that was there, then you got to figure, you know, what's the next step we do, you know?
Now, you can't figure bike night once a week for 6 weeks in the summertime to bring all these people in and make the economy grow in this town.
Well, my problem with, you know, and I said this, you know, these are nice things, but guess what? That doesn't, you know, the people, no, the people that come here go right back out to their suburban homes, and, you know, we're left with...
You're left with the leftovers.
Well, yeah, you know, I want to see in the paper, I want to see Wegmans going to open up a store in Erie. I'd like to see that. Probably not going to happen, okay? I'd like to see an announcement.
Between up there at Mill Creek compared to Erie taxes.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Even in the old days, we were higher than Mill Creek.
Talk about today, the type
Well,
of taxes.
today, you know, yeah, they're trying, you know, businesses today look at, this is where the people are, this is where we're going to go. So nothing else matters, all right? But like John and I are saying, to make Erie relevant again, if you make it relevant and clean it up, I'll guarantee you, regardless of the taxes, they'll be here, right, John?
That's true.
I mean, they were here when our taxes were high.
Yeah.
We had LB's in the middle of Buffalo Road, and you had department stores moving in here. And yeah, because we had 120 at the time,
Well, you know what's
100 and some thousand people still were here.
You know what's killing the city of Erie? Besides all the business leaving, the schools. The school tax is unbelievable. And what do we get for our...
Here's what I'm going to say about school taxes, and you can get mad at me, John. Brad Roy was on the other day talking about, you know, they're flush with cash. They're not flush with cash. You know what you got to do? Quit putting mandates on the local schools.
Well, that's government.
Yeah, state's got to say, you know what? You educate the kids, but we don't need all these programs about this kind of program, that kind of busing, this kind of crap. And that adds up, and who do you think's going to pay that bill when the federal government says we're not paying it and the state says we're not paying it? Who do you think pays it? The local school board's got to come up with the money.
That's right.
And they don't get funded. They get, if they're lucky, if they get, I heard Wolf make a comment. He said he would like to return 50% funding to mandated programs. Think about that.
Never going to work.
They
Where
were,
you get the money from?
they were only doing, yeah, but wait, they mandate a program.
The people pay.
And they say, the state goes, you got to do this. We don't care what you think about it. You got to do it. And guess what? We're only going to give you 30 cents out of a buck to do it. Okay?
Come up with the 70.
Now, that's their, hey, look, I agree with you, Ron, but if they're going to come up with the idea, that's their problem. Okay? It's not the local problem.
How about Obamacare coming up to the Supreme Court? That's going to be knocked out. And who's going to be stuck with all these people?
It always,
10 million people.
The same pair of
probably
pants
better.
that, John, who owns a pair of pants
Who owns a pair of pants?
that's going to pay all this?
The wife.
The guy with the deep pockets.
Yeah,
The public.
there you go.
You know, I saw him what a substitute teacher gets in Philadelphia. Now,
How much?
the starting, now this, I assume it's hourly, $46.70 up to $160 an hour, depending on the degrees.
What I heard was you can't, I don't know how it is now, but I heard two places people did not want to sub-teach or even regular teach. One was Washington, D.C., and the other was Philadelphia for a while.
Well, Philadelphia, they're thinking about bringing in outsiders.
Well, yeah, but, you know, I knew somebody that went to D.C. to teach.
And they figure they'll be saving $10 million. Of course, the teachers' union don't like that.
No, but these workers, they might not like working there either. Because some of these areas, I heard, one woman told me, basically, they put her behind glass at one school.
Well, in Philadelphia,
And told her, you know, just try to keep control. This was in D.C. years and years ago.
Well, we never had any trouble when I went to school.
And guess what, John? She didn't need a degree in education. I'm serious. They needed a warm body.
Well, I'll get off the air. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later, Ken.
They take you
Hey, John, thanks for calling.
Your butt, you know. Okay, you got the final word. Man.
Yep, because
the word is we're off the air.
We're not
Thanks.
off yet. You
No,
get
we're
it.
not.
We're done.
Word.
We're out of time.
You don't want
No,
to say
it's up
anything?
there.
I got
Up
nothing.
there.
No, we're good.
Wait a minute.
It was a good show. Don't be pulling my string.
Ron, anything?
I just don't like the situation.
This show was actually, took off. A couple of people got us fired up, and
Lots of calls.
it went
But
quick.
Eddie is a good part for the city. We need guys like Eddie.
I've had Eddie on the show.
No, Eddie's a great guy, and this guy don't even know what's going on upstairs.
Well, there's always time to reconsider, but
And we better get
Okay.
him back. We need him.
Good night, Erie.
Have a great week.
good night, Erie. There's a good one. At
Erie.
least it's not good night, Irene, right?
I better go check my.
When do you need this by? I can bring it tomorrow, right?
We going upstairs to talk to the guy up there?
No,
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.